Coming up, another Matt Boldy hat trick and a wild win. This is Locked On Game to Game NHL.
Every game, every team, every angle. Locked On Game to Game, your team every day.
Welcome in. You're listening to Locked On Game to Game NHL. Local experts join us to go over the biggest stories on the ice. I am your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every weekday. Another trio of goals that meant a victory for Minnesota, all thanks to Matt Boldy. Locked On Wild certainly not sick of talking about Boldy hat tricks.
Which do you prefer, Matt Goldie or Hat Boldy? Whichever one you choose, it leads to another hat trick and another big win for the Wild. Hey everybody, Seth Topal, host of Locked On Wild, your daily Minnesota Wild podcast, recapping a 5-1 win for the Wild over the Seattle Kraken. The Kraken handled business early on, but found themselves trailing 1-0 after Jake Middleton scores his third goal of the season. Matt Boldy gets things going in the second period as he scores twice, including once on the power play, to make it 3-0 at that point. 50 seconds into the third, he scores his third goal of the game to pick up his second hat trick in the last 6 games. And Ryan Hartman adds a goal after that. Marc-Andre Fleury nearly had a shutout. It all leads to a big Wild win. For more on the Minnesota Wild, make sure you're following Locked On Wild wherever you listen to your podcasts.
The Devils are in the playoffs while the Islanders are in the wild card mix right now. The Isles got themselves a win at just the right time, while the New Jersey Devils fall short. Locked On hosts from both teams are in with that breakdown.
What's up? This is Trey Matthews of Locked On Devils, and here is my post-game reaction. So, talk about a fall from grace for the New Jersey Devils because in one of their more recent matchups against the Iowa Senators, they were able to come out away with the win in exciting fashion, thus clinching a playoff spot. However, this time around, they dropped this one against the New York Islanders by a score of 5-1. Worth mentioning that this is the first time this season that the New Jersey Devils have lost by more than 3 goals. Obviously, 2 of those goals by the Islanders were empty netters, but nonetheless, the Devils did run into some hot goaltending because Sorokin was playing above the goals expected. However, it's no excuse for the New Jersey Devils' poor lapse in judgment because the first goal that they let up, we saw Ryan Graves fall over. Then second goal they let up, Ryan Graves had a missed coverage and didn't come up on Kyle Palmieri. Then the third goal that the New Jersey Devils let up was thanks to a turnover by Andre Palat when he was trying to pass the puck over to Jack Hughes. So it was just one of those games where the New Jersey Devils, they could have come away with the winning end or maybe made it a tighter affair. Obviously, Tomas Tatar did have a goal waved off because he kicked it in, and that could have tied the game, and maybe that shifted it over into the favor of the Islanders, whatever the case might be. But still, at this point, since the New Jersey Devils are now officially a playoff team, there's no excuses for that kind of outing.
The Islanders bounce back and get a big win. Gil Martin of Locked On Islanders here. Kyle Palmieri leading the way with a 3-point night as the Islanders down the New Jersey Devils 5-1. The Islanders playing their game for most of this contest, and it's really the same old formula. Just enough offense, smart defense, great goaltending from Ilya Sorokin, and realistically, emotionally, this game was huge for the Islanders after losing 2 games that most people thought they would win over the weekend. They come home and beat a quality playoff-bound team that really was going to be a challenge, and they were equal to the task playing their game for most of the 60 minutes and picking up 2 big points. For more, listen to and watch the Locked On Islanders podcast with me, Gil Martin, wherever you get your podcasts.
The Isles doing what needed to be done to stay in the wild card chase. The Panthers, they're going the opposite direction. They're on a 4-game skid at the worst possible time. The Cats falling to the Senators last night, and perhaps their playoff chances are gone as well. Locked On Panthers is in with the full details.
Special teams continues to be the issue for this Cats team, resulting in losses. What is up, guys? It's Armando Velez from the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, and the Florida Panthers lose to the Ottawa Senators by a final score of 5-2 on their first game of this 4-game road trip. And tonight's loss for the Panthers likely has ended their season, as the Florida Panthers, they might have been the better team at 5-on-5, but this team continuously goes to the box way too often and doesn't have the structure and the talent to kill penalties at the rate that they want to, being one of the bottom in the NHL. And it proved once again with the Ottawa Senators scoring 3 power play goals on 4 opportunities. And the Florida power play was hot going before their game against the Toronto Maple Leafs on Thursday, and now they're 0 for 7 in the last 2 games. So the power play has gone cold for the Panthers as well. And after getting a 7-game point streak, now it's a season worst 4-game losing streak for the Panthers, giving up 5 goals in each of the last 4 games. So you're not going to win that way. And from President's Trophy to likely not making the postseason, this is a complete and utter failure for the Florida Panthers as a franchise. So lots to get into, lots to talk about for this 5-2 loss for the Florida Panthers, where the Ottawa Senators limited the middle of the ice for the Panthers and didn't make life on Matt Sogard hard. So listen to my recap of this 5-2 loss for the Florida Panthers. Make sure to listen to my latest episode on the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast.
That's a wrap for this edition of Locked On Game to Game NHL. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every weekday. Make sure that you subscribe to Locked On NHL and your favorite team's Locked On podcast on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts from. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On Game to Game.